Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Unintangibles. I am today's host, Mo Aurora, and I missed you guys on Thursday, so it's good to be back. Jeff, Shoella, my co-host, I'm happy to see you. I forgot how to host the show, but hello, how are you?
I'm good, Matt. I'm good. Welcome back to the show. We missed you last week.
Thank you. Yeah, you guys did a great job, though, you and Ian. It was a fun episode. It's fun to be a fan of the Unintangibles. Because in making the show, I don't like it at all. No, it's good to be back. I've been a little bit under the weather. Had a cough and a cold. That was pretty gross. And even now, just the gross stuff lingers. But whereas before I was like, oh, I'm sick. Now I'm like, no, guys, I'm fine. I feel great. So it's like, I'll try to minimize the grossness for now. But happy to be back. How was Jeff? How was your week?
Pretty good fantasy-wise.
That's all I'm asking about. I don't care about your.
Oh, my regular in-person week. Yeah, man, I was healthy. I wasn't sick or anything, but I was definitely intrigued when you tweeted me this photo here. Mo, do you want to tell us about this before I pull it?
Sure. Yeah, pull it up. I'll.
Whoops. Here we go. So Mo texted me this picture on Friday night. Was it Friday or is it Saturday?
Saturday.
This picture right here. So Mo was in the Georgia Dome. Do they still call it the Georgia Dome?
Yep. The Georgia Dome is now rubble. I was Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, and it's pretty cool. So I attended an event in one of the clubs at the stadium. It was a company's 50th anniversary party and our 50th birthday. I don't know how companies mark years. But my wife and I got to go. It was a nice little creative black tie affair, and it was kind of fun. We didn't get to go on the field or anything, but the field was already ready to go for the next day in the afternoon. But it was cool just to be out there and see it and just
very cool. I mean, you could see even behind you. I mean, it looks pristine. It looks super cleaned up, and it's ready for the game.
It's a really nice stadium. It's really. I've seen a soccer game and a football game there, and both were really good experiences. And now I've attended a fancy party there too, and that was pretty good too.
Are you ill? Is your face ill in this, or you're?
I was fighting it. I was stepping aside to cough at times. It was kind of gross, but I held it together. But
well, the track you definitely it was a track meet the next day between Tampa Bay and Atlanta. So
It was, I'm happy that the Falcons won, but I guess everybody kind of got their fantasy points, right? More or less, I
mean, unless you're in the Tennessee Titans and you're a Jordan Howard owner, or who else Mary Cooper disappointed again.
I'll say right off the bat, all of my mid-tier wide receivers that I thought were going to carry me through my bye weeks. This week was a major bye week where I relied on all of them, and none of them did particularly well. So. A little bit smarting in that regard, but
exactly. Sammy Watkins, or
so Josh Gordon did okay, but not great. And I started him in a couple of places, and I started him over guys like Sammy Watkins, who didn't do great, Will Fuller, who didn't do great. And I'm like, oh man, all the guys that I like, these are the guys that are gonna get me through the bye weeks. Yeah, none of them would have worked out. It's just one of those weeks. I still think they're all good players or whatever, but I've lost. I'm headed towards losing, barring any miraculous kicker or IDP thing. But I'm headed towards losing in both our league and the third bonus league that I. Sorry if anybody from that league watches. The two leagues that I was undefeated in, I'm about to lose, but I'm going to win in my home league, so it evens out.
That's right. 5-1 is still a very good start. Nothing wrong with 5-1.
Yeah, nothing wrong with 5-1. So this week was the week that I would lose in our league because I didn't have Kamara or Michael Thomas, or it turns out Kerryon Johnson could have come in handy as well. And in the other league, I mean that team is overachieved a little bit. I'll say it's gotten kind of even before I lost this weekend, I was in first place at 5-0. But then the next 5 teams behind me had scored more points than me. So I'd gotten a little. It's a good team, but I've gotten a little bit lucky. It's kind of
fantasy gods come into play, though, for sure.
Yeah. And I think it helps that I lost because So it's a hard league to trade in general because it's like very shallow benches. There's so many points available in this league. I make fun of it for that reason, but like because of that, that means waiver wires are always pretty stocked as well. Which makes trading kind of hard. And it didn't help that I was undefeated. Nobody probably wants to help me make my team better. But also, it is a work league at a company that I don't work at. So it's 11 people who know each other. Then some stranger who just like showed up and went out to a 5-0 lead.
Hilarious.
So, yeah, I'm hoping now that I've lost, like, I'm human. I'm not a threat. I'm just a guy, hey, let's talk trade or whatever. But that's all right,
I think if teams had Kamara and Thomas and Drew Brees, I feel like those teams may have suffered this week because I think they're really leaning on those New Orleans Saints players.
Well, anybody who managed to stack any of them for sure.
Yeah.
But at the same time, anybody who only has one of those guys, probably doesn't have anyone as good as Drew Brees or Michael Thomas at like those positions other than him, right? So like statistically, it's unlikely.
Yeah, because you do have Todd Gurley in our league who had an incredible day, over 200 yards receiving, rushing a couple touchdowns, and you're still way behind here.
Well, yeah, no, I'm gonna lose. It was like Todd Gurley was the only thing that kept me close in my matchup, but my opponent didn't have a great day either. It's gonna be high 90s to high 80s, just kind of a boring fantasy matchup. Oh well,
Were you watching the games at 3:00 yesterday in the afternoon?
Let's see. Well, I watched Falcons Bucks at 1. What was in the afternoon again? Remind me.
So I was checking to see if you were into the Buffalo Bills in the fourth quarter.
Oh, I didn't get that game. I watched a little bit of Dallas Jacksonville until it got out of hand. Surprising result, but I don't think that's surprising. I think what's surprising about it is
the number of points the Cowboys scored. No, is that?
Well, yeah, but I think I think that was a bad game for Jacksonville. And Dallas just played well. You know what I mean? I don't think anybody in Dallas, other than Zeke being Zeke, but like everybody else that was a good day from the Dallas Cowboys. Bortles can still be Bortles and have a really bad day. But also, even the best defenses, I don't think you can be that afraid of the best defenses. This is too offensive a league now.
I think you're right. Yeah,
it's like so-and-so's running up against the Jaguars. It's like, so what? The Jaguars are running up against Tyreek Hill or whatever it might be. I think that's the thing you got to think about. And
yeah. I mean, it took a super talent like Saquon Barkley to make the Eagles look silly last week on defense. But I guess you're saying, you can have a Dak Prescott-led team and still compete and win over the Jaguars because.
It's funny. Saquon Barkley has inspired this. So it's amazing. In the last couple of days, I keep hearing everybody say that the Giants should not have drafted Barkley. They shouldn't have gone for a running back that early, drafted a quarterback instead. They could have had Sam Darnold, and they'd be okay right now. And I kind of think that, first of all, Sam Darnold's been fine. I think there were 5 Sam Darnolds in the draft, and there's going to be 5 Sam Darnolds in the draft next year. But Saquon Barkley is pretty special. And I know that there's always at least one running back that gets talked up like that every year, but we're starting to see evidence that it was true of Barkley, right? And like I can totally imagine a scenario where they're like, statistically, one of these 5 quarterbacks will be a better pick than the best running back in the class, but like this isn't fantasy for them, right? Saquon Barkley interviewed for a job at that company. I can totally understand them like, no, this guy made an impression on this franchise. And I don't know if I agree with everyone saying that the Giants should have drafted Darnold. Like, I think there's going to be 5 more Sam Darnolds next year. Saquon Barkley may be really special.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. And not that the Giants definitely need a quarterback, and I think they're pretty much done for this year. And I think Saquon's going to get his either way, but I still feel that, look, I mean, you get that franchise quarterback, you could draft for one, but who's to say that they can't try and trade for a Teddy Bridgewater right now just to, I hate using the pun, just to bridge the gap, right? But like having a serviceable quarterback is attainable for a fair price.
I don't know if there's a point of doing that now. I think, so here's the thing. The Giants took so much heat last year for benching Eli. And I think they were right to let's not bother with this streak anymore. It's a charade. But I just thought that the Giants shouldn't have let Ben McAdoo be the one to do it. They should have fired Ben McAdoo.
Yeah.
But either way, that whole thing was a debacle, and I feel like now uh, the Giants get to, first of all, they weren't a Sam Darnold away from being a good team this year anyway, and being good this year doesn't matter all that much.
Yeah.
So instead of trying to be 7-9 this year, get Barkley. So now you have Barkley, you have Beckham locked up, you have Ingram, you have Shepard, you have all this talent, and you let Eli be terrible for a year. And it's like, there you go. Now we're going to move on at quarterback. Are you guys happy now? And everybody wins. And then next year they have a rookie come in with a much better situation. You have a rookie coming in who could be like a Goff because he's got such a great situation around him, you know?
I agree, and I think it takes time for sure. And I think we need to point out, too, that the Giants had a very tough schedule to start the season. It's going to get easier. So they played Jacksonville, they played the Cowboys, they played the Texans. Those are 2 of 3 pretty tough defenses. Then they played New Orleans, which hasn't been a great defense, but that's not an easy team to play. Right. And then the last 2 games, Carolina and the Eagles. I mean, those are 2 pretty solid teams. So,
yeah, but again, man, like none of those teams have been as good as we think of them as being, and seemingly bad offenses are scoring a lot of points on seemingly good defenses. The Giants have been bad. Like Eli Manning is bad, you know. Beckham, I get sick of having to defend him at some point. It's just like, just shut up, man. I get it. It's tough. It's hard being you, and it's tough. I get it. And he's right. He is right. What Odell Beckham has to do is different than what everyone else on the team has to do, right? And I think there is some credit due to that. But, like, that only works if Odell Beckham successfully handles what more he has to do than everyone else. You don't get – if he fails to do it, then he's failing to be Odell Beckham. So it's like he needs to get it together a little bit. Like I saw Sterling Shepard getting mad and punching shit on the sideline after one game. And I'm like, when I saw Shepard do that, that's when I realized how stupid Beckham looks when he does it too. Like, it's not cool. It's so – because who the hell is Sterling Shepard to be punching a fan, you know? And so when I saw him doing it, I realized just how stupid and unproductive it is, man. It reminded me of when I was a kid playing baseball and I had a phase of, like, throwing my helmet when I got out just to show how upset I was being out. It lasted 6 weeks maybe, but, like, it's dumb. It's just childish.
I think it's fair to say that we could probably officially – I mean, Eli's terrible right now, but the next 4 games, Atlanta Falcons, terrible defense right now, Redskins, 49ers, and Tampa Bay. So those are 4 pretty good opponents if you're on the offense of the New York Giants. So I agree. I don't think not much is going to change this year, but, you know, their schedule is not bad, you know.
Yeah. No, I agree. All that said, I just criticized Beckham. Told him to grow up a little bit, but I think he'll be a lot happier over the next 4 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, go out and get him if you need a wide receiver. Nobody needs a wide receiver, so don't spend a lot of money to get him. But, like, if you can get him. Great, you know?
Who else stuck out for you this week?
Let's see. I think man, I keep waiting. So I know that they lost to Pittsburgh, but I keep waiting for the Bengals to not be good. And, like, yesterday seemed like a bad game for them, and they're still pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, I gotta get over. I thought that Cincinnati was gonna be terrible this year, and so far I'm wrong. And kudos to them. And I gotta say, I really hate playing them in fantasy matchups. I hate going up against Bengals players because I'm so worried about them. It's tough.
Well, I knew that they were definitely due for some positive regression because they had the toughest schedule last year.
Yeah.
And the Raiders, I don't know if the Raiders are going to fix their problems, but it looks like Tyler Boyd's for real.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so
John Ross is not the picture.
Exactly. So I think the Bengals, they're not an easy out right now. So
no, that's the thing. It's like I don't necessarily want any of them in my lineup, but I know I don't want them in my opponent's lineup. You know. And also, I think Chiefs Patriots went exactly as I thought it would go.
Last team with the ball.
Got a lot of points. Last team with the ball wins, and that's how it was. It was too bad that the game basically swung on that Chiefs defensive lineman letting go of Brady because he was afraid of getting a penalty. That sucks, but at the same time, that is the game that we play in. That led to another touchdown for fantasy players, so nobody's too mad about that.
So let's talk about your 2 fantasy BFFs. You have Josh Gordon and Sammy Watkins.
Yeah.
Who are you more concerned about right now.
I am more concerned about Watkins. Gordon still seems like he's trending upward. It's just taking longer than I would have wanted it to be, but maybe this is how long it's supposed to take.
Sammy Watkins borderline droppable in a 10-team league. Yes, probably in a 12-team league. It's a conversation.
I think he's the end of your bench. I think like he's in the deepest league I have, in the deepest league, my 16-team league, my 4 receivers that I count on are Diggs, now Gordon, Tyler Lockett, and Watkins. And I put Watkins as the 4th among them now. Now my decision that I have every week is basically picking 2 of Diggs, Gordon, and Lockett.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
Yeah, until I see more from him, because right now, man, it seems like it's always something, man. I don't know why. He's the one guy who isn't open in a game where everybody's getting open. He's got to leave. It sucks. It's tough, man. I want him to be better than what this is, and maybe he still will be. But right now, so what we're seeing is, as great as the Chiefs' offense is, those first couple weeks was maybe a little bit of a mirage, right? And it needs to be that big a week for everybody to get their points, including Watkins. And I think if they're only going to score 35 or 40 points instead of 48 points, then Watkins maybe is the guy to lose out to everybody else, you know?
Yeah. I think it's time to cut bait a little bit, just as an outsider's perspective. Yeah. I'm not sure. I mean, I love that offense, and don't get me wrong. If someone gets hurt, I think Watkins can step up and have some great value. But he's definitely been disappointing. I mean, even more so than Jordan Howard. I can't really blame Jordan Howard. He's still out snapping Tariq Cohen. It's just either the game plan. Howard didn't help himself by fumbling on the goal line. That was a crazy game, by the way. I don't know if you saw the highlight, but Kenny Drake fumble on the goal line in overtime, and Jordan Howard, he ended up getting decent numbers, but. Yeah, I don't know. Even Gronk, I feel like some of these guys, they're just trying to preserve a little bit to make sure they last for the season.
Yeah, that's the thing. We talk about game script every week, but I'm starting to think that there's like a season script at work here. Yeah. You know? Because again, like every time we get mad at like, oh, why don't the Packers play Aaron Jones more, or whatever? Why doesn't Sarkisian throw to Julio at the goal line more, or whatever? Like that kind of stuff. It's like, I'm not saying any of these guys are good coaches, right? I believe everybody in any sort of power in the NFL is a bunch of idiots, right? But they're not such bad coaches that they haven't thought to get Julio Jones more touchdowns, right? Or like they don't not know that Aaron Jones runs the ball well, right? There's got to be other things that they have to consider that we don't.
Yeah.
There has to be. Like, for example, people are like, oh, yeah, this whole idea that they just put Jamal Williams in because he's a better blocker. I don't think that's important. I've heard people say on their podcast, I don't think that's important. I'm like, Aaron Rodgers is playing with an injured knee.
Yeah, you got to keep Williams.
Blocking is not important.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in the grand scheme of things, maybe Aaron Jones is more efficient running. That's not as important as a better blocker, Things like that. It's like,
yeah, I think they do try and preserve some of the important players throughout the year.
I'll get workloads. They think about it. Your Steelers are still the first time divisional opponents are facing each other. They're saving plays. They're saving looks. They're saving all sorts of stuff. They have a whole season to manage this stuff.
I wonder if this has anything to be in play at all. And it's really my biggest surprise of the season. Now it's official after 6 weeks. My biggest surprise. Adam Thielen.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Most people, and I'm not saying they're trying to preserve Diggs, but I know Diggs definitely has a history of injury history.
Yeah.
And, if the Vikings want to make a run, obviously they're being very careful and precautious with Dalvin Cook. But they're feeding Thielen hardcore, and he's producing. Like, I think everyone's a little surprised at the level of his production so far. How about yourself?
I agree. I think I always think of the two as a 1A, 1B kind of thing. And I do think that Diggs' best plays are more impressive than Thielen's. In that regard, I do think Diggs is like, quote unquote, a better wide receiver, but that's not entirely true. The fact is, like, Thielen gets open that often. Thielen on a play where, both he and Diggs are out there getting open, Thielen is obviously open like 7 times a game in the end zone, once or twice. Like, he's great, man. And you can feed him the ball and he can hold up to it. He's solid. That's really impressive. And Diggs isn't even disappointing. Diggs has been good.
Oh,
Diggs
yeah, it's been great. Nothing wrong with Diggs. It's just, I guess he hasn't been scoring touchdowns, but he still has. I think he still has at least three on the season. So
I mean, I'm happy with the high-end wide receiver 2.
7 for 9. There's nothing wrong with 7 for 90.
Not at all, man. Not at all. And like sometimes it's sort of the way the cookie crumbles. I remember watching last week or a couple weeks ago, I was watching the Vikings play and, watching a drive where Diggs caught 4 balls on that drive, 4 different types of catches and stuff like that. And then he gets banged up, leaves the field. And then on the next play, Thielen scores a touchdown. There's some amount of that happening, but part of the reason why it keeps seeming to bounce Thielen's way is because Thielen keeps getting open and being available and making plays. He's great. He's great.
Any final thoughts or extra surprises or disappointments or something that sticking out with you to end this episode?
It's starting to get, I don't know, man. It's starting to get to the point where, like, Dolphins Bears. If you told me at the beginning of the season that Dolphins Bears would be a 31-28 game, I'd be like, that's great, right? But even now, to look at this box score afterwards, I'm sort of like, in retrospect, like, I'm still kind of glad that if I, for however much I might have avoided that game, you know what I mean? Like, I guess Trubisky, if he's your quarterback that you have, he's pretty solid. You might as well just like roll with him. But like you said, Howard on Miami, like Albert Wilson, you think Albert Wilson could do this every week? I don't know.
No.
Could you guess that this was the week that he goes off? No. Frank Gore's still really good, man. But like, are you going to start Frank Gore? Yeah. No, I don't know. It's like, it's confusing, man. There's a 59 points scored in this game, and I'm looking at the box score being like, hope I don't have any of those guys on my fantasy lineup. Like,
Kenyon Drake, I mean, between him and Derrick Henry, I mean, what's worse right now? I don't even know. But
yeah, but at least this feels like a rock bottom for Kenyon Drake that he can bounce back from. Henry, he's just mired. He's just like, it's him, it's the offense, it's all of them. You know what I mean? Like the Titans offense doesn't help Derrick Henry, but Derrick Henry doesn't help the Titans offense. Yeah. They're all just kind of okay, and in this league, it's not good enough.
It just shows that RB2 doesn't exist either, man. I saw a tweet someone wrote that Alfred Blue was out playing Lamar Miller. I mean, the entire 4th round of drafts this year were probably busts all the way through.
That's the thing. There's no RB1, RB2. There are just good running backs or not. You know what I mean? And so there are good running backs available at the top of drafts and at the bottom of drafts, and then there are good situations available in the middle. But if you want good running backs, there are 2 startable running backs, 2 stud running backs in New England on the same team. You know?
Yeah, so you can get a James White, you can get an Austin Eckler. Yeah. So if you get the scat back on a good team, that's just as valuable as drafting someone who you think might get more volume on a crappier team.
Exactly. Yeah, man. Just two good running backs on a good team, and like the players have to be good, right? There are only 2 good players on that team if both of them are good, right? But like, yeah, you want Kamara or Ingram, you want Michelle or White, you want you'll settle for Eckler if you can't get Gordon, things like that. It's like it's cool. And frankly, it's funny. It's like, because with that in mind, who's quietly regaining some steam is Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt looked like a stud. And Kareem Hunt, and there's no Kareem Hunt and Spencer Ware. You know what I mean? Spencer Ware is a strict backup, right? Yeah. It's Kareem Hunt's game, right? And like, which means Kareem Hunt is on the fringe of a category that includes guys like Gurley and Zeke and Gordon, and in a group where like DJ is failing to do that,
It's okay. So give me your tier 1 RB1s. So you have Gordon, Gurley, Zeke.
Gordon, Gurley, Zeke, Kamara, Hunt. Like, he's in there.
Barkley,
McCaffrey,
Barkley.
Yeah, this is basically, it's like if we were to redraft our leagues right now, those guys would all be in the first round among running backs.
8 RB1s, genuine RB1s, and I think after that, I don't know. I wouldn't even put DJ in that list right now.
I mean, he would be in whatever that next tier is, but he's in it the first. He's number one on the tier of running backs you don't want. You know,
that's pretty safe. There are 8 running backs right now that are guaranteed RB1s right now.
Do we say it was 8? Let's see if we can do that again. Okay, Gurley, Gordon, Zeke,
Kamara, McCaffrey,
and Hunt,
and
Gordon. 7. I'm only getting 7.
7 or 8, maybe 7 or 8. Yeah, okay.
I mean, 8 would be Fournette or Cook. These guys are working out, you know.
Yeah, so count your lucky stars if you have one of those 7 players, basically.
Basically.
What are you looking at for tonight? Anything special? 49ers and Packers?
You know, I don't. I'm not directly impacted by any of these. I just, I hope that. I don't know. I just like how many 49ers are people starting this week?
No, I think it's just safe to say start your Packers and that's it.
Yeah, I mean Kittle's starting. Somebody's got Kittle.
Yeah, if he's in, he may not even play. He's injured, right? So.
Oh right. Oh well, there you go. Never mind.
He's questioned.
49ers are just the bad guy in the Green Bay Packers show, I guess. Especially if you got Packers. But you know, I think here's what I'm really rooting for tonight. I'm really rooting for Jamal Williams to throw a really good block. That's what I want to see tonight.
Are you going to watch the game?
Maybe. I'm thinking about going out. I'm seeing how I feel in an hour or two.
Nice. Well, we will reconvene back in a couple days. We'll have a member of our league. We'll have to figure out who we want to talk to.
Let's see if anyone wants to talk to us.
By the way, I got my first victory in our league this year. So
congratulations,
1-5, baby. 1-5, coming back, getting ready to run the table.
So let me ask. Yeah. So is that what it would take for you to? Are you just in it until you lose next, or what?
Yeah, I'm not giving up yet. So I ended up making the trade that was proposed to me on this show last week. I ended up doing Jones and Eckler for Howard. Not happy about it yet, but
this might be a low point for Howard too. So
I'm still okay with it. I think better days are ahead for him. So
yeah.
And that's it. Do you want to take us out with some music? And we'll see.
Let's do it. All right. Well, anyway, it was good to be back.
Yeah, I'll be back. Thanks.
A couple of losses. No longer have the burden of trying to keep up an undefeated record. It's great. I'm just trying. Yeah, just interested in enjoying football as best I can. Anyway, all right, guys. Thank you very much for joining us. We hope you enjoyed the show. We'll be back again later this week. Hope to see you then.